Hi folks, GamerBug here again, and we're back with some retro nostalgia in the shape of Transformers. Now, I previously did a Transformers video where I went through and rated all the box art from the original 1984 toy releases, and I had a great time doing it. It was a lot of fun. And if you want to see that video, I'll leave a link in the description, and there will also, if I'm not too lazy, be potentially a link on the video around somewhere. You know what? Let's go back into those rose-tinted spectacles, and we're going to do another tier list where we are going to, surprise, surprise, rate the 1985 Transformers toy releases. Now, this was one of the things where there was a bit of a difference in the toy releases, because the UK did not get everything that other countries got. And there was two different catalogues. One was the UK catalogue that came inside the UK toys. I'll call them catalogues, leaflets, whatever you want to call it. And would show all the toys that we could get. And then there was the US version, as far as I'm aware, probably the rest of the world, Japan, I don't know where it's for exactly. And this had other toys on it. Now, I actually got hold of this. I think it may have even been in the magazines or something. And the comic, I mean, sorry. And it showed all these other ones that I couldn't get. Now, I do recall seeing these in catalogues. Now, we had catalogues. They were basically places you could... It was like an predecessor to an online shop. You just send off and people send stuff to you. So we had these catalogues. If you're from the UK in the 80s, you know what a catalogue is. And I think they had often spreads in them of Transformers toys that would have been taken from the inlay where it showed off all the figures. And sometimes these were the American ones. So whether you could actually get them and they had that stock, or that was just the picture that they used in their catalogue, I don't know. Regardless, I'm going to rate them all. But some of these I will have literally no experience of, even from just staring at the box in the toy shop when I was a kid. But regardless, we'll go over them all. And maybe those that I do have some history with can get a little bit of extra bias points. But speaking of which, we will go on to exactly how we are going to rate them. So, first of all, we have the lowest tier. Ass and bat. This is absolute trash, garbage, just looks awful. What were they thinking when they drew this? It's just crap. Next up, we have the Uncanny Valley, or meh. Now, this was in my previous video just Uncanny Valley. It was the weird looking Transformer. The box art just looked strange or creepy or freaky, but it wasn't absolute trash, but it was worrying. I've added in meh because I felt that some of the things that maybe below in they tried could have gone into a more of a meh. But I don't want too many categories either. So either they're really weird or they're just bland and uninteresting. And so that's where anything that falls into that will belong here. Next up, we have middle of the road, par for the course. They tried. It's the average. It's okay. Doesn't offend me. It's fine. If somebody handed it to me, it's nice. And if somebody told me to get it, I might not. So yeah, they tried is just the pictures where you look at them and went, you can see they tried. There they go. They're not brilliant, but it's fine. Almost there, but are those pictures that really just invoke something in me that make me go, wow, this looks really good. But there's something about it not quite right. They just missed the mark on this or that. But this artwork is good and it really looks cool. And if they'd just not done this one thing, it would definitely be in the next tier. Badass. Badass is, I see nothing wrong with this. It maybe invokes a bit of bias and it looks just brilliant. And I don't know how many things will fit in here. I was surprised how many ended up in Badass eventually in my last one, but that was after I did a shuffle at the end, which I will do here. I will put them in and then I might go in and shuffle them about within the lists at the very end again. But that's enough of that. we will now crack on with the list, but before we do, just a quick request that if you like the video, maybe leave it a like, and if you could see it in your heart, subscribing would really help the channel and helps me bring more of this kind of content forward. So without further ado, let's move on to the lists. First up, we have a triple changer, Astro Train, and I'm going to be honest, I really like this picture. I don't see anything wrong straight away with this. Now, it has no nostalgia for me. Not only did I not own it, I don't know anyone who owned Astro Train. I had no friends that had this. But, you know, it's cool. I'm going to be honest, I don't hate anything about this. The pose is okay. Legs maybe a bit too skinny at the top. But there's no terrible perspective issues here. The hands look fine, not egregiously big. It looks like Astro Train. I like this. I like this a fair bit. I think that it's not perfect, but it's not far off it. So as a good baseline, I think, yeah, Astro Train definitely fits into almost there. But next up, we have the first of one of the Transformers that was not released in the UK as far as I'm aware. I never saw this, and that is Barrage. Barrage is one of the deluxe Insecticons, and I can be honest with you, I know nothing about this character. I know nothing about this toy because they weren't released here, so I couldn't even pine over this. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even really know. I mean, I must have done because I would have seen like the inlay that had these on them, but I didn't even know these existed till years later. And I was like, what are deluxe Insecticons? And then I looked them up going, I'll see what they are and it'll spring the nostalgia in my head. And it didn't. I still don't recall ever seeing anything about these. That said, I really like this. It looks very untransformery. It doesn't feel like the other ones. And I get that a lot of these were pulled from many different Japanese toy lines to become the Transformers, so they didn't all work or look quite right, and I think these were definitely some that didn't look quite right. That said, I like this. I like it a fair bit. I think the sword's really weirdly teeny tiny, or knife, or whatever it's meant to be, and the gun looks a bit small, but beyond that, I do like this. I think it looks cool. So I think for having no knowledge of this and just looking at this picture and nothing else, this goes into almost there. But Beachcomber. Now, this is a toy that my friend had. I had a friend who literally had the second run of Mini Autobots, and I think he had most, if not all, of the 1986 Minibots. And this was a 1985 Minibot that he had. And if I'm honest, it's not one that really does anything for me. It was a perfectly fine toy. There's nothing wrong with it. And this picture is kind of fine. It's not that exciting, but I didn't find anything I suppose the legs are too short. That would be my big complaint about this. Well, there is another one as well, and that is that the Autobot symbol looks like a blobfish. But beyond that, it's the legs that are too short that matters the most. And for that reason, I don't know if it can go into They Tried or Uncanny Valley. I can see what they were going for. It does look like Beachcomber. It doesn't help the Beachcomber. Even the new version I've got of him, I find a little bit bland. It's a very bland kind of look going on here. I think it has to go in meh, but maybe I can push him up once I do the review at the end. For now, yeah, meh. Next up, we have Blaster. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is terrible. I don't remember this looking this awful. This is just trash. What is going on in this picture? Why is his hand so giant and freaky looking? What's going on with his head? I don't remember Blaster having a massive chin. The weird thing across his face looks wrong. Like the guard, it's like he's got a nose guard or something. Just give him a nose or give him a visor. Don't decide to give him half a visor. The gun's really weird how he's holding it. And I guess that's a toy thing because he probably would have had to have held it like that. And then his legs look tiny. They look so small. This ain't Blaster. I mean, it is, but it's just pap. I am not impressed with this one bit. Now, a friend of mine had this as a toy, and I don't remember this being the box art, but then I may never have seen the box. And I didn't really like the toy, if I'm perfectly honest. I like the new incarnations of him. I've got the Kingdom one, and that's really good. But this, the toy itself was also, I didn't like it. It was too big. I had Soundwave, and he had Blaster. Blaster was massive. He was, as a robot, was too tall. I get why, because he turned into a boombox and all that kind of stuff, but no, it wasn't anything that did much for me. But I do like the character of Blaster, but that's not going to rescue this, I'm afraid. Yeah, this is the first one definitely going into ass and bad. It's just not good. Here we have our next triple changer, probably our only other triple changer, because I think the others came the year after. We have Blitzwing, and he's not as good as Astro Train in this picture, is he? Just not as good by a long measure. I don't like the sword. It looks like a fish. The gun's very weird looking. I mean, I guess it's just got a lot of guards on it. The head, not fab. The legs look skinny and weird. And I guess, again, this will all be toy accurate, but I don't know anyone who had the toy, so there's not a lot I can say here. I think it goes into they tried, because you can see that they've tried, and there's a few problems with, like, the sword. I think the proportions are kind of okay on this. It's not cool, but it's okay. I think punishing him just for that sword would be a bit cruel, so I think the Blitzwing goes into they tried. Bombshell. Our first of the Insecticons, not including the deluxe ones, obviously. And how cool does Bombshell look? He looks freaking awesome. This is just a brilliant picture. The proportions look good. He looks cool. He looks mean. He just looks like the toy build better. Everything about this I like. I like the head. I like the hands. I like the gun. I like the legs. I like the cannon on his head. I do like Bombshell as a character, as in I always found him to be like a real creepy, weird, apparently he can like take over your brain kind of guy, and this looks phenomenally good. This is a brilliant picture. The Decepticon logo looks right. Everything about this is right. Bombshell definitely goes into badass. Time for Constructicons, and this starts with Bone Crusher. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know if the Constructicons were available over here or not. I never saw them in the shops. Never saw the big pack of them or anything. So if they were probably just already bought. But do leave a comment if they were available in the UK. I don't know. Add to that, I don't really know anything about these because they were all just green construction vehicles. They didn't do anything for me. Devastator was the thing, as far as I was concerned, was interesting. Devastator was cool, but the actual components of Devastator were not. I don't feel that same way about the later combiners, but the individuals of Devastator just whatever, they all blend into one to me, and this doesn't help because this is kind of boring. I don't really know what he transforms into. I think this is the earth moving guy, based on the treads, and I think maybe the chest panel, so that's a good thing because I can guess what he is, just maybe. He's kind of boring. Kind of bland. He almost doesn't look like a transformer. He almost just looks like a robot. and that's just patterning. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh here. I don't know. I'm gonna put him in they tried, but I might move him down to meh. We'll see. So we have our next deluxe Insecticon, which is Chop Shop. And I know just as much about him as I do Barrage. And if I'm honest, I like this, but I don't like it as much as Barrage. I think the tiny little axe thing in the hand, just the look, the pose. He's kind of cool. They definitely tried here. The gun's probably a bit too big. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with it. I just don't think it's got the same coolness that Barrage had in the pose and the look and everything. So I think for that reason, Chop Shop here probably just goes into they tried. And as I can't tell you much about him, that's going to have to be it for now. They tried. Cosmos. One of, when I was a kid, I thought the dumbest Transformers I'd ever seen. Robots in disguise turned into a UFO. Can't think of anything worse to turn it into. You may as well just stay as a giant robot if you're going to be a UFO. Because both of them are going to get you noticed. I didn't really like the toy. Same friend who had all the other mini Autobots had this one. And I thought it was a bit boring. That said, I like this picture. I really do. I find one thing wrong with this picture, and that's it. And that's the blobfish Autobot symbol again. But beyond that, I really like this picture, and it makes me like Cosmos. And then it also makes me think the newest version of Cosmos that came out as part of the Legacy line, I really like that as well. And like I say, I have no real nostalgia for Cosmos, but I like this picture a lot, a real lot. I think if there was probably just a bit more going on with him, he might hit badass. It's not far off it, but I think just because he doesn't have any nostalgia for me or whatever, I think he's going to go into almost there, but he's close to badass, but not yet. So we have the completed, full formed up Constructicons, and we have Devastator. Oh dear. Oh dear me. I don't remember this picture looking this crap. This is awful. This is really bad. Okay. Where do I start? I guess the head that looks like a podgy faced old woman with a massive chin and a terrible haircut. This is just no. I'm trying to think, if I took away the head, would it look better? Maybe that's the worst offensive thing about this. I mean, the fists are a bit weird looking. I think it looks, and this could be the head, it looks squat. It looks stumpy. This is meant to be the biggest combiner, and it looks stumpy. Everything about this feels wrong. I'm looking now at the actual different combiner bits on it as well, and is Bone Crusher the one that's on the top shoulder up there? I feel it probably was. This is how much I know. Little I know about any of this. This is not good. I don't like this at all. I think this is actually pretty crap. Considering how important it was to sell this, that picture on the side I don't think would have even inspired me as a kid. I'm afraid this is ass and bad. It's going in there. Maybe they changed the head. I still think there's a lot to do to make this look impressive. Yeah, it's bad. Dirge, one of the new Seekers and effectively known as the Coneheads these days, even though back then they were not Coneheads because the toys were exactly the same as the original Seekers and you pulled the cone all the way back, like in this picture. And if I'm honest, I wasn't really enamoured by them, which is interesting because they're all different, whereas the first three Seekers are the same but different colours. But these guys just were just more of the same with slightly different wings. There were already 3 Seekers that had personality, so adding more in, not great. They were fine. As toys, they were fine, but there's a lot wrong with this picture. The hands look weird. The guns look very odd. And the legs make him look like... I'm going to assume that this guy is in a seated position, because I can't explain the foreleg if not. He's got to be sat down. That's weird. Why is he sat down? I mean, that's not a pose I would ever go for if I wanted an action pose for a Transformer. Is he terrible? No. Is he good? No. Is he meh? Yeah. Sorry, but dude, you're meh. Grapple. Oh, this isn't good, is it? This isn't a good picture. Why is his hand so big and looks so weird? And I mean, the gun hand isn't as bad, it's not as offensive, but this hand, of that one that's just a fist, looks weird as hell. It doesn't help that they've got that rubberized look again as well. But it's not just that. Then that fist and his teeny tiny head, which I don't mind the head itself. Even the weird chin isn't that offensive again. But it's so small. And maybe it looks so small because of the giant hands. I don't know. I wonder if you took away the arms, that would look better. Maybe. I think maybe it would. The perspective is kind of ruining it. And there's no perspective going on with giant fists. He's fine if it weren't for them, but they are so weird looking that I'm afraid Grapple has to go into uncanny, because that makes him look uncanny. So uncanny valley you go. Grimlock, the leader of the Dinobots. Our first look at the Dinobots, and they have knocked it out of the park with this one. How awesome does that picture look? I'm trying to find what's wrong with this picture. Don't get me wrong, I love me a Grimlock. I've always thought Grimlock was cool. I like the toy, I like the character, I like the whole visored face and everything that he's got going on. Give me a visor on someone, they're always going to do well. And yeah, he looks brilliant here. I think if I was to pick one nitpick, is he looks like he's got mutton chops coming out the side of the face mask. But that's really splitting hairs. There's nothing wrong with this picture and everything right with this picture. And for the the Lord of the Dinobots, couldn't ask for more, could you? This is quite simply badass. Hoist, a toy I owned. I owned Trailbreaker and I owned Hoist. He was one of the later toys I got, possibly the last toy I got. And I liked the toy, but I didn't love the toy. It wasn't that cool to me, but it has a nostalgia place in my heart. And the new version of Hoist I also don't particularly like, but it has a nostalgia place in my heart. However, if Hoist looked like this picture, oh my god, he looks freaking awesome. This is a badass picture. This is absolutely kicks ass. This looks amazing. Yeah, the wheels are a bit too small. I'm not going to hold that against him. This makes what I would call the toys that I had look brilliant. Why didn't he look like this? Because his legs don't look like skinny little weird things with a big fat tummy. That's kind of how Hoist looks, and he doesn't look like that here. He just looks cool. Even the giant hand, the perspective is right there for what he's doing. Yeah, the head's not quite Hoist's head. I don't care. This is absolutely badass. And considering, like I say, I had the toy and I didn't love the toy, it was fine. This is awesome. Definitely into badass. Hook looks less like a Transformer than Bone Crusher did. It just looks like someone's drawn a robot, probably a young kid, and that's it. I guess the toy maybe looked like this. Again, tell me in the comments if it did. But there's nothing really interesting about this, is there? It's boring. It just looks like a robot. If anything, it's a bit uncanny as well because the head looks tiny. I feel it could be a bit bigger. It's got a visor, so a little bit cool. Hasn't got a face mask, and he looks like he's going, oh. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just boring. It's really boring. This is just a greeny robot. Greeny purple robot. For that reason he goes into meh, and the head probably puts him uncanny valley anyway. Sorry, Hook. Nothing exciting about you, mate. Off you pop. Inferno. Now, I was hoping this picture was going to look cooler than it does, but it doesn't look as bad as I first thought when I clicked it on a second ago. It's already growing on me. Now, let me tell you that along with Soundwave and Optimus Prime, this was my favourite Transformer that I had. And I didn't have a big collection, but I loved it. I mean, it was a fire engine. And your brain goes, he's heroic because he's a fire engine / fireman. And he looked cool. And he is kind of cool here. I think I have one issue, and that's the chin and the nose. And I don't know if the two of them set each other off, or if the nose makes the chin look bigger, or the chin makes the nose look bigger. But that's all I can find particularly wrong with this, and I really do have a love and nostalgia for him, so I'm giving him brownie points for that. But I don't find the gun's fine. The hose, the fists, the legs are probably a little bit short, but yeah, okay, fair enough. They're not wrong in the perspective and all that kind of stuff. The wing things look good. I like the little shoulder spray cannon thing, and yeah, I think if they didn't have the chin and the nose being so big, he'd definitely maybe get badass. I can see what they almost tried, but does he fit there for my nostalgic purposes just because the butt is the chin and the nose? Yeah, I'm going to put him there. Almost there, but that chin and the nose is quite egregious, and it is a problem. Jetfire, aka Skyfire, but Jetfire. Now, this was a brilliant toy. A friend of mine had it, and another friend before this came out had the, is it Macross? I don't know what the toy line it was stolen from was. It was a grey one. I think it was called Phoenix Hawk or something like that. Anyway, and it was, I had a Transformer, and I was like, oh, it's okay. I think I had Soundwave in that, and I loved them. But this Macross toy was way ahead of its time. It was amazing, and obviously this copied that. Just had extras on it, and it was a brilliant toy. I actually preferred it without all the extra bits on it, more so probably in plain mode. It looked weird with all the extras, but in robot mode it looked cool. This picture, however, considering how much I did think the toy was absolutely awesome, is a bit weird looking. It looks too short. It looks squat. Beyond it looking squat, the only other issue I've got with this picture is the gun and how it's being held. Very odd. That's it. That's my problems with this. And for that reason, I don't think... It can't go almost there, but because I feel that being squat is, for a tall Transformer, is wrong. And the gun looks weird. But it's not uncanny, even though it's squat. So I think Jetfire, luckily through nostalgia being thrown in with him, gets to go into They Tried. Kickback, our next Insecticon. Not uncanny, XM. The deluxes do not fit in the same bracket as far as I'm concerned. And he looks awesome. He also looks like a she, and I don't ever recall Kickback being a she. It's a little bit of an effeminate kind of face there. I have a problem with that, by the way. I think it looked good, and part of me is like, could Kickback have been a woman? Would have been quite good. But there is nothing wrong with this picture again. It looks bloody awesome. The wings look cool, they look right, the gun looks awesome, the arm, the claw hand, like everything about this looks good. The face looks kind of alien but cool. I like this a lot. And yeah, I think that Kickback is another one that has to go into badass. Long Haul. Another Constructicon. That's not that interesting. I'd say the only issue I have with the picture, and I mean like from a weird perspective, is the gun, how it's held and the position and everything's a bit odd. Maybe the tiny hand on the other side as well. I like the head, it's quite cool. I think this is the dump truck one. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I generally don't know. Can't say. I never had the toy, so can't say. It's fine. I don't think it's uncanny, I just don't think it's interesting. So, like the original, which one was it? Bone Crusher. I have to say, like I said, I've got nothing else to go on here, so yeah, Long Haul goes into They Tried. Mixmaster, another Constructicon. Another that I think firmly fits straight into They Tried without really looking much at it. The head's quite cool. Looks like they've literally squished Optimus Prime, Soundwave and somebody else together, but it's fine. The legs are weird and somehow look like stripy clown pants, but fine. I assume he turned into the mixer, the cement mixer. The rockets look weird. There's nothing really uncanny about him. It's just fine again. It's just okay. So yeah, Mixmaster goes into They Tried. Alright, now we have a big boy, Omega Supreme. This is garbage. This is awful. Now, if anyone knows if this was available in the UK, I believe it wasn't, but I believe I saw this in a catalogue spread, so maybe it was. That said, I know nothing about the toy. I own the Siege version of this, and it is top tier awesome. Absolutely amazing. This picture ain't that. This picture is a squat mole man robot. I don't know what is going on with him. The gun arm, which I know is the top of the rocket, doesn't even look like the top of a rocket. It looks like it would spray maybe icing out. The arm makes him look more Mole Man-y because of it being a claw. The head looks like Mole Man. His squat body looks like Mole Man. This is Omega Mole Man robot. This is just not good. The leg, where are his thighs? Why has he got no thighs? He's just got feet and shins. And even the tracks on the back look too chunky. Like what are they? This is just, I mean, like I say, I'm going off. I can see out the corner of my eye my giant Siege Omega Supreme, and it's brilliant. And if they drew this to portray him, I would cry. This is just tat. This ain't great. Nah, this is ass. This is actual bad. And this is ass. Perceptor. Now, I don't know if Perceptor was available as a toy over here. I really don't know. I sort of recall seeing him, but I don't ever recall him in shops. Might be wrong. Let me know. That said, everything I know about Perceptor from the comics and the cartoon, and this ain't Perceptor. That said, I like this picture. I don't like the arm with a gun in it. It looks weird. It doesn't make sense. Where is his arm? As in, it's like the fist looks like it's springing out of his thigh. And he's holding a gun very weird. But I like the helmet and the face look and everything and that. He actually looks more like a Decepticon. He looks like some sort of German soldier from World War II kind of look or something like that. Crossed with a fireman, crossed with a Roman. But I like the arm, the preceding arm with the spike on it and stuff. And the legs are okay. It's fine. I'm going to put this in They Tried. I'm almost tempted to put it almost there, but because I like it, but the arm's weird. I might reevaluate this one up into almost there, but this is a really cool figure, but it doesn't feel like Perceptor at all, even though it probably looks just like the toy of Perceptor. So yeah, they tried. Oh, actually no, I feel a bit cruel. No, we're going to move them around. They tried. Power Glide, one of the mini Autobots. As I said, a friend had this, and I didn't really like the toy, and I didn't like that this was a A10 Thunderbolt, and I didn't like that this was an Autobot. This mold, so an A10 Thunderbolt, could have been a brilliant Decepticon, not a mini Decepticon. The fact this is a mini Autobot, it's a plane, and I love the fact the Autobots were cars or land based, and they didn't have things that flew, which kind of was like a downside. Okay, they're the cartoon, everyone could fly in, whatever, let's ignore that. But this wasn't a great toy. So is this a great picture? No. It's weird. Don't get me wrong, the toy looked weird. The legs look a bit odd on this and way too short. The hands aren't terrible. The head's, yeah, looks a bit gorilla-y. I don't hate it. I should hate this because I don't like Power Glide and I feel everything about him is wrong. But I don't hate this. But it is wrong. But I find it slightly more interesting than some of the others. And I don't know if it's uncanny. It's kind of uncanny. But it doesn't feel that wrong. Just slightly too small legs on a mini Autobot doesn't bother me. I'm going to have to put him in They Tried, and that's surprising. I thought he'd go into Uncanny Valley or meh, but he hasn't. Well done. Ramjet. Another Seeker that was another Seeker. Yes, I mean the figure was fine. It wasn't anything that exciting. I don't like the picture. I mean the giant, I guess, missiles that don't look like missiles. The pose again, he's sat down. It's exactly the same pose pretty much as Dirge. And the face looks a little bit more pained. Like, it's not terrible. It's not good. It's very, very meh and kind of uncanny. So yeah, I think Dirge has to go into, I'm sorry, Ramjet has to go with Dirge into meh. Ransack. Another deluxe Insecticon that I know nothing about. However, I do own the, it was a buzzworthy Bumblebee version of this. It's a more recent one, which is just a palette swap pretty much of Kickback. And this is so much cooler. I like that figure. I like this better. Why can't this have been the figure? I know obviously why they did what they did, but this looks brilliant. Now, there is a weird thing with the leg, but I think that's just how I've ended up cropping the picture. I can't really blame this for that. I think it's my photoshopping. But the gun looks cool. I quite like the stumpy little, almost like SMG look to it. The head's awesome. The weird like bug torso. The legs. Is that a shield in his hand? Kind of looks like a shield in his hand. It looks like a buckler kind of thing. And yeah, I like this a lot. I can't find anything really wrong with this. Yeah, the front arm's a bit big. Maybe. I'm not even complaining too much on it. This is badass. These deluxe Insecticons. Yeah. Is this more badass than Ransack? And Ransack Barrage, sorry, my bad. Yeah. I think this could go. I'm going to put him in almost there, but I think he's going into badass. He's badass. He looks badass. That's cool. I like it. Badass. Well done, Ransack. You are badass. Lamborghini time. It is Red Alert. Oh my god. Oh my good God, this is horrendous. What the hell is going on in this picture? Just for clarity, I never liked Red Alert being a Lamborghini because it was a stupid car to be a fire department car, but I get why they did it because it was a palette swap. Of all the palette swaps you could have gone for, I don't get why they did it with this one. Anyway, let's ignore that fact. I quite liked Red Alert, the idea of the character, and like the latest version of him I've got. This is freaking trash. This picture is garbage. The giant overcompensating red tip dildo rocket launcher, the massive gun in his massive hand, his hand that's much further back but is also still massive, his constipated, fat, tiny, straining face, his tiny little wheels that are too small to belong on a car and should be on a skateboard. I mean, the ones down by his feet, there's no reason they should be that small. The legs squished together. This is just the worst picture I've seen so far. This is absolute ass. That, I'm afraid, you're going to have to live with, Red Alert. Another Transformer that did not get a UK release, as far as I'm aware, Roadbuster. Now, this was one of those ones that, again, it was dragged in from another line. You can tell this did not belong. I mean, they're all dragged from other lines, but some of them felt they belonged together and some of them didn't. And this didn't, for its colour scheme and its styling and everything. I've seen the pictures of it, never had it, was never that bothered about it. Gonna be honest though, this looks bloody awesome. Again, this is such a good picture. I love it. It looks great. The rifle, the stance, how he's holding it, the head. The head looks a little bit like a dog. Don't mind that though. The Autobot symbol's a bit weird looking, but whatever. The rocket launcher, maybe where it's mounted is a bit strange, but again, whatever. Very little to dislike in this. This looks cool. I guess I would like to see a cool picture of the transformed mode, but again, because I don't know enough, this could just be a robot. And I think not knowing what this transforms into properly in my head, I know it's like a Jeep kind of thing. Can it go into badass? Can it go into almost their butt? He's going to almost their butt, but he might move. For now, though, yeah, really like this. Really like this a lot. More Constructicon time, and this time we have Scavenger. And again, I do not know what this is. Is this the one with a excavator on it? Maybe it's excavator. I don't know. It's fine. It looks like a purple trousered robot. Doesn't look like a transformer. Yes, I know these are treads, so whatever, but it doesn't look like treads. There's nothing wrong with it. The face is fine. It almost looks like a gas mask. It is literally the epitome of they tried. It's just, yeah, sure, whatever. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, it's a cool robot. Is it? Yeah, it's alright. It's not awful. So, yeah, another Constructicon goes into they tried. And here we have the final Constructicon. We have Scrapper. Now, is Scrapper the digger? Or whatever they're called? There's two different types of like earth moving ones. One, yeah, this was because of the wheels. One had shreds and one, yeah. This, I quite like. This looks good. This, I think, was maybe because I quite liked those kind of construction vehicles. I don't mind this one. I like the helmet. I like the face. It all looks good. The arms look good. The pose I quite like. Maybe it's the pose that's making this look less bland due to the fact you can't work out. If this was stood up, he might look boring. But because he's not stood up, he's almost like hiding the fact that he's quite probably just plain looking. And for that reason, I like this one. I really like this one. So I think Scrapper goes into, just because of the pose, and we are marking this on the picture, goes into almost their butt. Sea Spray. Another one I wasn't a big fan of, mainly as I knew that, you know, these sort of things, it's the same problem, I guess, with Powerglide. But Sea Spray is a hovercraft, and hovercraft were things that were like used for taking people across the channel from like UK to France and stuff. And they were bigger than this, I think. Or maybe that's hydrofoils. Maybe I'm getting confused. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This feels like it should be bigger than it is. But he looks fine. The arms are weirdish looking. The head's creepy. I don't remember it looking that creepy. It's like it's got bug eyes. Another blobfish Autobot symbol that for some reason is in relief on him, which is odd. I don't get why there's a shadow there. The legs are okay. It doesn't really do it for me in the same way. I think Powerglide somehow had a little something about him that made him look better than this. This picture of Sea Spray, I mean, Powerglide might get dropped down, but I think this fits into, it's slightly uncanny and kind of meh. But then maybe this could get bumped up. I really wish I'd had a mid-ground somewhere. You know what? I'm going to put him into They Tried. I feel that's probably fine. Shockwave. Now, again, you could not buy this in the UK, as far as I'm aware. But my mum used to work in a local newsagent's which had toys in it. And these toys had all sorts of things. And there was a knockoff version of Shockwave in there. It was 100%, it was called like Laser Pistol or something like that, or Laser Pistol Man. But it was 100% a knockoff of Shockwave. I didn't get it. I didn't buy it. But yeah, it definitely was. So I don't really know what the toy of this is like. This picture, however, considering it's Shockwave, is pretty shit. I'm not a massive fan of this. It looks weird. I don't get what they were going for. He looks more car-like than you think because the way the head looks down, it looks like a bonnet. His legs are too small. His arms are too long. I love Shockwave, but this ain't a great picture at all. It's very, very uncanny looking. I don't know if it's total ass. And I think that's because it has the visor, the sort of weird head stops it. If that had like a humanoid head, it might look more ass than it does. But I think it definitely can only fit into Uncanny Valley and meh. Shrapnel. Probably the least interesting of the Insecticons to me. And if I'm honest, this is the least interesting picture. The new figure we've got of him, I'm not a big fan of either. The gun looks too big, but it looks kind of cool. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with this. It's just not that interesting. He also looks slightly like he's riding a motorbike and revving with his other hand. But is there a problem with it? No. Is it as cool as the other two? No. I think the pose and everything they were doing with the others was better than this pose. I just don't think it. I guess he's trying to jump down. I also think they could have made that gun a bit smaller. But beyond that, it's almost there. But Skids. This could have been a really good picture. But the head absolutely screws it. I mean, really screws the pooch. And the funniest bit is if you put your finger over the chin, it looks really good. I think the nose doesn't help it as well. Again, they've gone for that real big spiky kind of nose. And it sticks out. And the two of them together, plus I think it's the downturned mouth, just looks a bit wrong. The rest of him I like. The guns look cool. The look of him is good. The head does seem to sit oddly. It's like the front needs to pop out a little bit longer to have a place for the head to sit. The legs look good though. There's nothing wrong with this apart from the head. They really tried on this one. I'm not going to mark it down for the head. So Skids gets They Tried. Dinobot time, and we have Slug or Slag, whatever you want to call them. Was one of my favourite Dinobots, but I don't like the head. Other than that, I have zero complaints on this. It's just how they've done the head makes it look like he's wearing a blindfold rather than that's a visor. But if I'm honest, that's such a small nitpick. This is a really, really, really good picture. And he does look cool, but that head puts me off. If anyone's ever seen a film called Hawk the Slayer, there's an old woman in it. I might try and throw a picture up on screen of her. It just keeps throwing my head back to that. You have to have been around in the 80s to bother to have watched that. It's a pretty naff movie. But anyway, that puts me off. Their face and the eye and the visors puts me off and stops it being badass. But it is almost there, but. So yeah. So definitely Slag, definitely belongs into almost there, but. Well done, Slag. Next up, we have Sludge. This one's not as good, is it? This one misses the mark a fair bit. The legs look really wide apart, too far apart. They're really wide. They're too short. Could be longer as well. Needs more thigh before we hit those big chunky leg bits. They look good. The gun's sort of fine, maybe a bit too big. The hand is too small with the other one being too big. And he looks like a child in his head. That looks like a very youthful head. And then the wing kind of bits don't look too right either. It's fine. There's nothing fundamentally wrong. It's just not great. It's just not amazing. And the legs are too far apart as well here. They're too spread. But yeah, I mean, Sludge has never been one of my favourite Dinobots. He's probably my least favourite. Him or Swoop. But that said, you know, looks okay. And I think that goes into They Tried, but I can't put him any higher than that. Smokescreen. One of the Datsun boys, and again, I didn't like the Datsuns as in the Datsuns themselves, but I did like the robots and the characters. I couldn't tell you anything about Smokescreen. This is fine. Again, it's got the same nose and chin problem that Skids had, that Inferno had, and it really pulls away from the character, because if it wasn't for the chin, it would look better, and if the nose was a bit smaller, it'd look even more cool. I do like this though. I do think it looks good. The gun's a little bit like whoa in your face, and the little stripes around it make it look like either something to do with a circus, and the doors look a bit toothpastey because of the shine on them. That said, I'm really nitpicking here. It's mainly the chin and the nose. Everything else is completely forgivable and looks good, and it's a great pose, and I think he fits into almost there, but Snarl. One of my favourite Dinobots, probably him and Grimlock were my two favourites, because I'm something about a Stegosaurus, don't know why. And I'm going to be honest, I really, really like this picture. There is pretty much nothing wrong with it. The head feels wrong, but it isn't bad. It just feels kind of wrong. The arms look good. You can see all the Dino Stegosaurus spikes, plates and stuff, and the feet, and the sword looks cool. The hands look good. This is just a good picture. This is a badass picture. And yeah, he's going to get a couple of points because he's one of my favourites. But yeah, this is brilliant. I really like this a lot. And this definitely belongs in badass. Swoop. Now, I don't think you could get Swoop in the UK, but you could get all the other Dinobots. But for some reason, this didn't get a UK release. Again, might be wrong. Please do correct me in the comments. But Swoop's never been one I've loved too much. I've always found fine. The other ones were just more interesting dinosaurs to me. But looks cool here. I'm going to be honest. The head is probably the biggest problem I have with this. Just looks like a grumpy guy with shades on. But nothing fundamentally wrong. So yeah, I mean, I like it. I was never the biggest Swoop fan. I think just noticed the Autobot symbol looks like it's sat a bit weird, but I mean, that's a minor nitpick. All in all, looks good, just doesn't have that kind of wow factor of the other Dinobots. Looks better than the picture of Sludge though, and I think this is almost there. But if the head looked more like Swoop's head, and I also have on order the Studio Series 86 Swoop, which I think it's the only one I'm going to get, but I think it looks a bit crap. I think the Power of the Prime's head was better. I think if they got the head right, this could be fighting for badass, but I think it just belongs in almost their butt. Thrust, the last of the Seekers, the new Seekers, and it looks worse than the other two. Oh my good God, everything about this looks wrong. Their face looks worse. Pained, looks like he's got a weird beard going on. Also looks like a slight Muppet mouth. The weird hands, the stumpy arms look freaky, and this may have been the same on the others, but I didn't notice it. How the arms are sat looks wrong. I know he had tiny kind of weird wings, but not that small. Again, he's sat down. He looks fat. And yeah, the rockets look weird. Considering, like I say, I have no love for these guys, this is just pretty tat. This is crap. The other two are better than this considerably, and that's saying something because they weren't great, but this is ass. This is absolute ass. Topspin, one of the jump starters. Now, again, mate of mine had these, and they were stupid and annoying, and they rarely landed on their feet, and they were barely a transformer, and they transformed from somebody stood up to somebody with their legs tucked up. That said, I like this picture. The premise of them, the gist of them, as in their drawing here, looks really good. Sorry it's not as clear as it could be. It's the best picture I could find, but yeah, I like it. I have the Titans Returns versions of this. That's the most recent ones that they've been, if you don't count the recolor of the Titans Return as a wrecker for, was it Topspin or Twin Twist? Twin Twist, I think. Anyway, like this, looks good. Proportions are good. Yeah, the feet legs look, feet. Let me reverse that. Legs and feet look a bit weird, a bit too big maybe. But yeah, he looks good. I wouldn't say he's badass, but he looks good. He's literally almost there, but maybe if there was a bit of like something going on with the feet here made it better. But for characters that, you know, weren't very interesting, even toys that weren't that interesting, yeah, almost there. But Trax. Now, this really doesn't look that much like Trax, but I don't care. This looks brilliant. This looks so cool. The head looks amazing. The visored face, the eyes, he looks evil. The rockets on the top, the wings, that gun, I don't recall him having a gun on, but I like it. I like it a lot. The hand looks the right size on here. The legs look good. Maybe a little portly looking, perhaps, but other than that, I am finding it hard to find anything wrong with this. This looks great. And I'm not the biggest fan of a Corvette, but this looks bloody awesome. And yeah, he looks evil. This looks like it could be a Decepticon. Do I like this? Yes, I do. Is this badass? Yes, it is. Well done, Trax. Twin Twist, the mold mate of Topspin. And yeah, this isn't as good, is it? This just isn't. Weirdly squatting forward. Not the best look. The arms look a bit iffy. The legs look really weird. He looks like he's straining to have a poo. This is not a good look. There's nothing fundamentally wrong. It's the pose, I think, that's probably the worst offender here. But then even the head adds to that straining look. Don't like this particularly. I don't even think it can go into oh, maybe it can. No, it's uncanny. It's uncanny because he looks like he's having a poo. Sorry, but that's where you belong. The last of the Insecticons, the deluxe Insecticons, should I say, and I don't know what to think about this one. It's weird. This is Venom, and yeah. The final deluxe Insecticon, Venom. I don't know what to think about this one. It's kind of weird looking. It's very weird looking. You can see how untransformery it looks. I also think it's very odd that they've done this like they've Last up, the final deluxe Insecticon, Venom. And this is a weird looking thing. The picture's odd. I find it odd in many ways. First and foremost, the fact they put the peg hole into the bottom of his fist where he's holding the gun. Then the gun looks tiny. Then the gun in the other hand that looks like a blade looks pretty cool. Then the head looks like a pumpkin. But then it does have a cool visor and stuff on it. But then it has bits streaming off it. I don't know what to make of this. It's weird. I think that's the point. This is weird. This is very weird looking. It might be cool. I don't know if it's cool. It's so weird I can't tell you. So I'm afraid with nothing else to go on, he's got to go into Uncanny Valley because it's uncanny. It's weird. Warpath. Another mini Autobot that I wasn't a fan of. Now, I do like the most recent figure of him that was from Kingdom. I think it's pretty cool. But it's the character of Warpath I don't like. And the reason I don't like it is, again, I always felt tanks, planes and stuff like that were the remit of Decepticons. They were militaristic. The Autobots were trying to blend in. So in being a tank, I didn't like. Putting that aside, is this a good picture? No. No, it's not. It's freaky. He looks wrong on so many levels. Doesn't help, I know, that Warpath did always look wrong on so many levels. The toy was freaky as well. But the head, the weird arms sticking out from, I guess, under his chest, so weird. And I mean, if the arms came out from the turret, it would look better. The cannon looks wrong. The platform bit is odd. This is horrible. Even the face looks stupid. It looks like he's got a red nose. Don't like this at all. This goes into ass. Finally, we have Whirl. Whirl is a character I know nothing about. I've never seen. I've barely seen the toy. And can't tell you anything about him. I know he turns into a helicopter. That said, he's pretty damned cool again. I like this picture. The weird skis for the feet, the face, that very, very, like, I guess for want of a better word, alien looking head. I feel this would have worked better as a Decepticon, but I like this. The claw arm, the strange spike, and looks like a camera arm he's got, and yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. This, I think, goes into almost their butt. It's cool. I'm just not sure how cool. But we're going to go back and we're going to look over them all in a minute anyway. So this is the last one out of the way, and we fit into almost their butt. Okay. Time for us to go through now and put them into a more realistic order and see if there's any we want to move up or down or shift about based on where we've put them so far. Now I'm going to start with Badass. Is there anyone in Badass that shouldn't be? And when I look at it, I think no. There's no one in there that shouldn't be. I think I'm going to put Grimlock above Shrapnel. I'm going to put Snarl there. Trax is better than Ransack. Yeah. I feel okay with this. I feel Hoist is fine there. I don't know, I'm tempted to put Hoist one up. No, Hoist is fine there. Right, almost there, but does anyone wants to move up a level? No. 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 I think I've been overly kind to him. We're moving him down to there. Am I moving any around in here is probably more the point. Because I don't know enough about them, he has to go further down. I think Swoop is better than that. I think he deserves to go up. The Chin puts you down. Yeah, put you there. You there. I feel okay with that. I feel alright with that. Anyone from this moving? No, he's staying where they are. Yeah. You're better than those. You can definitely go higher up. You're better than those. You can go higher up. Yeah, let's move you. You're definitely better than those. You might move. You know what? With you there, and you there. No, I do think I prefer Mixmaster to these guys. Skids is going to move up. He doesn't deserve to be there. If Smokescreen can make it here, Skids can make it here, and I think Skids. No, Skids goes there. Sludge, you deserve to be higher up than all of these. Probably there. Okay. Beachcomber, do you deserve to go up a level with these guys? Yeah. You're probably less interesting, but you're not as weird looking. No, I think actually Beachcomber belongs. No, Beachcomber belongs there. You stay there. You are boring, but not weird. You're more interesting. You can get to the top of that because you're so weird. You're better than most of these. You're better than those. And you're better than those too. I feel fine with that. This one is a weird one because, like I say, if it's slightly different, could have been up here. But yeah, it's just too weird looking. Or is it? Am I being unkind here? I think I'm going to move him up to They Tried. And there. Okay, Ass and Bad. Which is the worst of these? You're probably the worst. Oh, I don't know, actually, you're probably the worst. Yeah, you're the worst. That's the worst. And out of these, you're probably the best. I think that's fine. I think the order it's in is absolutely fine. Got no problems really there. Okay. I'm happy with that. That is the 1985 Autobots and Decepticons and Insecticons and Constructicons and anything else you want to put in there completed. And I'm sort of fairly happy with that box art pictures. I am surprised some of the ones I've really never seen before impressed me so much, but it could well just have been different artists, like I say, doing different things. Happy the Dinobots did well, happy the Insecticons did well, surprised at Cosmos, but all in all, yeah. So that's my personal opinion on where this box art should be for the 1985 Transformers. You will have completely different views on all of this, but please do share them with me in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I do plan on doing more Transformers content. If you did, then please leave a like and consider subscribing. Always helps, as I say. And until next time, as always, thank you for watching. GamerBugUK.